What is going on YouTube? Birchie here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be giving our Premier League 2023-24 predictions. I am a massive football head. I'm a big Chelsea fan. It'd be nice to incorporate more football style videos into the channel if we can. But let's get straight into it. So we're going to start off. I don't think there's no surprise. We're going to go straight. I really want to see them do well, but we're going to have to put Luton Town in 20th. I think it is just too big of a jump. I don't think anyone thought they were going to get promoted. They haven't got the funds. I think they will be a really tough test to a lot of these big teams, a lot of the big superstar players having to travel to Luton Town. If you haven't seen the away end to get to the stadium, you literally have to go through underneath some people's houses. Like the entrance to the stadium's like in a block of houses. So I think it'll be a really interesting team to watch this year, but unfortunately I don't think they're going to cut the mustard. In 19th, again, I'm going for Sheffield United. When was it? Last year? They were in the Premier League, I think, a year ago or 2 years ago, and they went down, and I think it's going to be a straight up, straight down again scenario. I just don't think they have the funds. They haven't made any real meaningful signings. They've signed Vinicius Souza. But again, I don't know how much he'll be able to bring to the Premier League. They're going to be one of those teams you don't... I think it's going to be an easy 3 points at Sheffield this season. And taking the final relegation spot, I'm sorry, it's got to be Wolves. Their managers just left. Their managers just left less than a week before the first game of the season. They've made no signings. They've shown no hunger or want to still be in this league. They've let go of Raul Jimenez, which I find crazy. Connor Cody's gone. Like a couple of the Ruben Neves to Saudi Arabia. Like they've almost lost their spine of players that were just keeping them outside of this relegation spot. But no, I think Wolves are done for this season. Coming in at 17th, we are going for Bournemouth. I think, again, Bournemouth, one of the clubs with the least funds in the Premier League. I just don't think they're showing any initiative to really want to stay in the Premier League, whether they can afford to. I genuinely think you could, if Sheffield could surprise, and you could actually swap Bournemouth and Sheffield around, I think. I think any of these three of Sheffield, Wolves, and Bournemouth will be fighting for relegation. So I genuinely think Bournemouth could go down as well. Coming in as 16th, I've got Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace have been overperforming the last few years. I think they have done very well. The Roy Hodgson's done great for them. But they've lost Zaha, their star player. They haven't really made any signings. They've brought in Jefferson Lima. Again, Bournemouth level player. Zaha leaving. James McArthur got released. Milivojevic got released as well, who I think was a great, consistent player for them. Guaranteed penalties at the very least. But yeah, I think Palace are going to struggle this year. Coming in at 15th, I'm actually going to put Everton, because I think, again, they just signed no one. I don't think they've brought in Ashley Young and Danjuma, and that's it. For a team that struggled so much last season, like, you've got to be pushing for more than that. You just have to. And I think Everton are in for another rocky season. Tough times to be an Everton fan. 14th, we are going to go for Nottingham Forest. I think they've sort of held their own in the Premier League. I think they've done quite well. Coming in last year, they had so many changes to their squad. And I think now that they've had time, they've had a year to gel together, I think they're going to perform better this year. They have also made some good signings, some smart signings. Like, they brought in Chris Wood from Newcastle. He guaranteed you a few goals a season. Anthony Elanga from United looks like a really exciting prospect. They've also brought in Ola Aina. I never know how to pronounce the name. The right back that was at Chelsea. He went to Torino and he's come back to the Premier League with them. So I think they've recruited quite smartly. But I think it'll be a relatively decent season for Forest. 13th, we are going to go for Fulham. I think Fulham are going to I think they'll put in a decent season this year. They've recruited well. They've signed Raul Jimenez from Wolves. I just don't know how Wolves have let him go. I think Jimenez guarantees you 10 goals a season. I think that is the difference between fighting for relegation or being in the lower mid-table. I don't know if Mitrovic is going to go before the transfer window finishes. He's looking like he might be going to Saudi. They could do with a few more signings, a few more defensive signings. I think Fulham will be just about at the top of that lower pack. Right, coming in at 12, we have got Burnley. I think Burnley are going to be a hard team to beat this year. They're Vincent Kompany at the wheel. I think he's a great manager, considering he's only recently been in management the last couple of years. But no, they've made quite a lot of signings, a lot of names I'm actually not too familiar with. But I just think Kompany just brings a winning mentality to this Burnley team that I think will rub off on a lot of the players. Coming in 11th, just ahead near the top of the bottom half of the table, I've got West Ham. I think West Ham have been atrocious this transfer window. I think they've brought in, well, they've managed to get rid of Declan Rice. They've brought in 100 million for him. I think it was about 100 million, and there is no one to show for it. They've just signed Edson Alvarez, the Mexican midfielder from Ajax, which is, again, a great signing. I think 30 million, something like that. I know a lot of the top teams were chasing him last year. I know Chelsea were looking at him last year. So I think that's a great signing and a pretty darn good replacement for Declan Rice. But they've got rid of Scamacca. They've got rid of Lanzini. Masuaku's gone. Vlasic is gone. They need to use that money. Man City are trying to sign Paquetá as well. I think for like 100 million. If you're getting offered 100 million for Lucas Paquetá, you shouldn't be saying no. If you're getting a combined 200 million for Rice and Paquetá, you've got to be very smart in your transfer dealings, and I just don't think West Ham have that in them. Not with Moyes and not with David Gold and Sullivan. I'm sorry, West Ham fans. I know I've upset a lot of people in this video, but coming in at 10th spot, we're going for Brentford. I think they've been pretty solid the last few years. They've always been a hard place to play. They've recently signed Beckham, Romeo Beckham. They've signed, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets many minutes playing in the Premier League. Again, I don't think they're going to do too much special. There's been a lot of outs and a lot of ins at Brentford. See, they haven't got Ivan Toney for a little while either, so they could be further down in this list. You could even put them without Toney. Toney will take you from being 10th without him to 13th easily, because I mean, he was in my fantasy team last year and he bagged me so many points that I think, again, Brentford could be a hit on this team on this list. In 9th, we are going for Brighton. They've made some smart signings. They've signed João Pedro, Mohamed Dahoud, and James Milner from Liverpool. They've been brilliant in their transfer dealings with Caicedo. Obviously, no rush to sell him, and as of today, making this video, he's having a medical at Liverpool. It looked like he was going to Chelsea. I don't know what Chelsea have been doing, trying to get a lower price when Brighton wanted 100 million. Chelsea tried getting lower. For months, we've spent trying to get him, and then we bid 100, and Liverpool have come in and bid 110, and Brighton said they'll sell to the highest bidder. So, bit of a fail from Chelsea, but is he worth 110 million? I don't know. I think he could be like another Kante signing. I genuinely think he is that good. Whether I'd pay 110 million, no one's worth 110 million, let's be honest. But I think as defensive midfielders go, he's the best you're going to find on the market at the moment. I personally think. You'll see later in the list the effect I think Caicedo will have on this Premier League this season. As well as playing in Europe, I think their squad is going to be quite stretched. So yeah, I've got them in 9th. Coming in at 8th, we are going for, this feels good to put in, Tottenham Hotspur at 8th. I think they are going to be in for a tough season. Again, as of today, Harry Kane is flying to Germany. According to Fabrizio Romano, here we go, confirmed. He is signing for Bayern Munich, which is mind-blowing to think. You think Harry Kane is, I think, 40 goals off breaking the Premier League all-time goal-scoring record held by Alan Shearer of 260. You think that... What would you rather do? Let me know in the comments down below. Would you rather stay at Tottenham, potentially win no trophies, but become the Premier League's all-time record goal scorer, put your name in the history books forever? Or would you rather go to Bayern Munich, win a few Bundesligas, maybe German Cups, challenge for the Champions League, basically guarantee silverware, and then retire. Let me know down in the comments below, what would you rather do if you were in Harry Kane's shoes? But I genuinely think, I don't think Tottenham recruit well in general. I think they're in for a tough season. I think Tottenham, it all depends on who they replace Harry Kane with. I don't think there's many world-class strikers on the market at the moment. Off the top of my head, I actually can't think of any. So for that reason alone, I'm putting Tottenham in 8. Coming in at number 7, grabbing the Conference League, we are going for Aston Villa. I think if you, as a neutral, you just love Aston Villa at the moment. They're playing a really good kind of football. They're entertaining to watch. Their recruitment has been spot on the last few years. They've just signed Yuri Tielemans from Leicester, who, in my opinion, was Leicester's best player for the last 2 or 3 years. They've brought in Pau Torres from Villarreal. They've brought in Moussa Diaby. For all the FIFA fans out there, you know how 94 pace, that guy's going to be lightning down the right wing. And I think Unai Emery's got some kind of, he's brewing. Unai Emery always manages to pull the best out of players, I think. So yeah, with Unai Emery and his experience in Europe, I genuinely think they could do very well in the Conference League this year. I think they've got a good chance. West Ham showed that it's doable for these Premier League teams. And I think Aston Villa could be right up there. Right up there. Coming in at 6th, we have got Newcastle United. They're in the Champions League this year. I don't think their recruitment has been strong enough to put up a good fight in Champions League and the Premier League. They've brought in Tonali, Harvey Barnes, and ex-Chelsea player Tino Livramento. They've brought in. So they've strengthened well, I think, in all areas, in attack, defence, and midfield. For me, I just want to see Newcastle bring in a top-class centre-forward. It'd be interesting to see Newcastle in the Champions League again, because I haven't seen that since Bobby Robson's days. But yeah, moving on to 5th. This one hurts, but I've got to be realistic. I'm going to put Chelsea in 5th. We had a shocker last year. We had an absolute shocker. It's I think possibly the worst season I've experienced as a Chelsea fan. Pochettino's probably the right man for the job, as he's an ex-Tottenham. He's a great man-manager. And I think with a squad our size, I think we're going to do a tier list on transfer markets. Chelsea have by far had the best. We had a squad of like 30 plus, and Premier League squads are normally about, what, 24, 25. That we've stripped out Kante, Dujon Sterling, Bakayoko, Koulibaly, Kovacic, Mendy, Havertz, Loftus-Cheek, Webster, Mount, Azpilicueta, Baba Rahman, Fafana, Pulisic, Ampadu, Hutchinson, Aubameyang, Angelo Gabriel, and Salina obviously going on loan, those last 2. And we've recruited Robert Sanchez from Brighton. Again, great keeper. I think will challenge Kepa for number 1. Disasi, again, I don't know anything about him, but from all the reports I'm seeing from people from France saying this guy is insane. He's like a brick shithouse in centre-back. So it'd be interesting to see how he fares. We've made a few great, really young signings. Excuse me. Nicholas Jackson looks like a young Didier Drogba. Like, this guy looks insane in pre-season. He's bagging goals for fun. I'm excited to see how he gets on. Nkunku Jackson link up, I'm excited for. Obviously, Nkunku's out injured now for 4 months, which sucks. I think when he comes back, I think we should be cooking. We should be cooking. I'm excited for Mudryk this year as well, and Madueke. I think Madueke needs to be starting every game. That guy is insanely good. Reece James being named captain now as well. I think if we can keep Reece James fit, I think he's a critical part to Chelsea's campaign, and yeah, I want to see big things from him this season as our new captain. But yeah, Chelsea in 5th. I think that's fair, respectable. And after last year, I would settle for 5th. I'm like, how the other teams are playing, I think 5th is, I would take it. Coming in at number 4, I've got Man United. I think, again, they've had a lot of outgoings. They haven't had the best window so far. They've brought in Onana. They needed a number 1 with De Gea going. And then this one hurts, but they've signed Mason Mount. Mason Mount, I still can't believe he's actually left. I thought he was Chelsea through and through. I thought he was to the end. But yeah, it hurts seeing Mason Mount being at United, but it is what it is. I think they just need to bring in 1 or 2 more players to really contend. So moving on from Man U, 3rd place, I'm actually going to go for Arsenal. They have been fantastic in their transfer recruitment. Just missed out last year. They brought in Havertz. They brought in Declan Rice. Rice, I think, will seamlessly fit in fantastically. Havertz, I'm unsure of whether if Arteta can get the best out of him or not. Find his best position. I think Arsenal fighting the Champions League this year. I think it could put more of a pressure and a strain on their squad. They've brought in Julian Timber from Ajax as well. So they've made 3 really good signings, but they've lost a lot of squad rotation players. So I think they just need a few more squad players just for that depth to be able to compete in the Champions League as well. Moving on to second, we have got Liverpool. I think Liverpool are just they've been slowly cooking. They had a rough season last year as well, right? They went a bit under the radar last year just because Chelsea did so bad. But they had a poor season by their standards. But they have recruited fantastically. They've brought in McAllister from Brighton, who was an absolute steal for like 35 million or something. They've obviously lost a lot of players in Firmino, Milner, Keita, Jordan Henderson, Fabinho. So they've lost quite a few of their vital, more experienced players. But they have so much experience in this team, winning experienced players in... I think Van Dijk's just been named captain. Alisson, you've got Trent, who's still so young but so experienced for his age. Robertson. I think that whole back line is still probably the best back line in the Premier League. They just didn't have the midfield protection, which is exactly what they've targeted this transfer window in bringing in McAllister. And now it looks like they're bringing in Caicedo, which I said earlier in the video, which is why I think Caicedo takes Liverpool from being Europa League spots to fighting for the Premier League. I genuinely think Caicedo will elevate this team because he'll allow the other players around him in the midfield. They've brought in, I can't pronounce his name, Bojalai from RB Leipzig, more of an attacking-minded player. I think he could do. He's a very Liverpool signing. I think if he can link up with the likes of Salah and Darwin. I think Darwin's had his first year out the way in the Premier League. He's a bit more relaxed. He's a bit more settled now, hopefully. And I think he could be a lot better this year than he was last year. That's why I'm going for Liverpool for second. And I think Liverpool will be a very good team this year. But yeah, the final spot, I've got Man City winning the league again. Ugh, it hurts to say, but Man City once again are winning the Premier League. I think they've recruited smartly. They've got a winning formula team. They don't need to be making loads and loads of signings to improve. They've lost Gundogan to Barcelona. They've brought in Kovacic as a direct replacement, who, in my opinion, was Chelsea's best midfielder. He was sensational. He's been fantastic for us. Hasn't put a foot wrong for Chelsea. So I think Man City have got a fantastic player in Kovacic. And then the centre-back role. They've needed a world-class centre-back, really, since losing Company. And Gvardiol from Leipzig is taunted to be one of the biggest centre-back talents in the world at the moment. And I think 70, 80, I think about 80 million I think they've signed him for. Obviously was fantastic for Croatia at the World Cup. And I think if they didn't sign anyone else in the window, I still think they're winning the league. I don't actually think they need to replace. If they lose Bernardo Silva, then potentially maybe a new winger, having lost Riyad Mahrez as well. Just a couple of squad rotation players to help fitness and things like that. Obviously, they'll be challenging on all fronts this season. But I just don't think anyone has the capability to stop Man City again. So yeah, guys, that is my predictions. Let me know your predictions down below, or on Twitter. You can @ me at @_Birchie, or come join the Discord and let me know there. I think it's going to be a really exciting season. I'm so buzzing to get going, starting tonight, the first games of the season. Yeah, let me know your surprise package. Let me know who's getting relegated, who's winning, and who to look out for. And if you want to see more of these tier list videos, please let me know, because I actually really enjoy doing them. So yeah, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, take it easy.